Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, today we're talking about the one, the only Mr. Turbo Toad token. Now, listen, you know me, I'm super high on Turbo. I believe Turbo is going to be one of the best meme coins to invest in this cycle. Now, of course, not a financial advisor, but in terms of probability, in terms of the maximum gains for the amount of risk you have, I believe Turbo is going to be one of the best cryptos. Now, before we dive into the technical analysis, let's look at Coinfessions of the day. We can see I met a girl in 2021 who said she did crypto. She begged me to invest in Crow. It was at 80 cents at the time. I wanted to flex, so I bought 106K worth. I ended up selling for a 99,000 loss. The girl is now my wife. Now, if this is a true story, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to you. Honestly, I see this as a W. A crypto woman is very, very rare. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to any of you crypto women that are listening to this video right now. I know you guys are extremely rare. It's extremely rare to even just hear people be constantly in crypto in the first place. So shout out to the woman, right? Great financial advice buying at 80 cents. But honestly, dude, that sell, obviously the investment advice wasn't the best, but you selling for a 99K loss, bro. I would have just bit the bullet. I mean, what difference does it make if I take back $7,000 or if I just leave it in there at that point? You know what I'm saying? But shout out to that. Shout out to you guys. Hope you guys have a great and fantastic marriage. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, right? In terms of Turbo news, we can see from one of our, people that we're partnered with one of the people we are constantly working with, Mansory, right? The ultra limited edition alert. The e-scooter is now live. Experience the fusion of luxury, power, and style. This isn't just a ride, it's a statement. So if we go and open this up, the Google Docs form, we're gonna go and just look at it very, very quickly. But we can see, ladies and gentlemen, priced at 3,500 USD, including shipping and customization. So boom. I mean, you know what? I've been thinking about getting a scooter because I personally really, really like them. So maybe I'm gonna have to get this one, right? Maybe I should get the turbo edition because damn, look how fly he looks, ladies and gentlemen, right? Look at this. Look at this. This is absolutely fantastic. Are you ready? Of course, and yes, the only two options. Oh, wait, this one has two wheels. This one has two wheels. I have never rode one with two wheels. When I was in America in Austin, I rode these all the time because they're so fun. They were so fun. But not the two-wheel ones in the back, but just the scooters in general. So we can see, right? Pretty damn solid, right? If you guys are looking to be purchasing one of these, then I highly recommend, supporting Turbo, right? Supporting Turbo. I'm going to assume these go really, really fast. I don't know how fast they go, but I'm going to assume they go fairly fast. So if you do buy one of these, make sure to watch out. Don't hurt yourself. Obviously, ride with caution. But look, ladies and gentlemen, let's dive into some of the basics for Turbo. We can see, ladies and gentlemen, we're up 13% in the last 7 days. We are up almost 9% in the last day. We're ranked 165 out of 9,515 active cryptos. I could have just sworn this said 164 literally a second ago, but it's all good. We're 290 million market cap, 36 million volume in the last 24 hours. So things are looking good. Things are looking solid. When we go and look at the holders, ladies and gentlemen, we know we've been pretty much flatlining for roughly 2 weeks, let's just say. And, we've seen some type of resurgence in the last day or two. Obviously, when momentum starts picking up, when Bitcoin goes up a couple percent, when Turbo goes up a couple percent, the bandwagon starts happening. We can see that we have been breaking out of our trend line, right? This has been the biggest and most crucial point is this over here, because we've been in this narrow trend. We've been selling off, and we can see when we look at the daily candles, right? In the last few days, we have been pretty much printing consistently higher and higher lows, right? We talked about this in the last video, how we had higher lows, but it wasn't necessarily a big confirmation yet because of this candle right over here. This daily candle was a pretty big rejection, right? We can see it's a pretty big rejection. Almost half the candle is the wick, probably like 40% of the candle is the wick. So, we weren't too sure, but we can see, boom, ladies and gentlemen, another higher low. And what happens? Monday automatically more of a break off, right? We get more confirmation, and things are looking good. Things are looking solid. When we even go to like the 4 hour, we can see the 4 hours consistently printing these higher lows, these higher highs. And I do believe we're probably going to have something very, very similar, ladies and gentlemen, to what we had over here when we were going super, super fundamental for, a couple of weeks before we bursted. And I know some of you guys are not happy with that because you want quick action, but you got to realize, right, when we got the quick action, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, what happened after that? We were correcting the whole entire time very, very slowly. So, correcting to the upside and being fundamental to the upside is not a bad thing. It's never going to be a bad thing. So, it's actually better for us because if we continuously, let's just say fundamentally, continuously go like this, where we go up and down, but we just kind of go higher each time, and we're just very, very fundamental with it, maybe a little bit sideways, keep going like this, right? Then, ladies and gentlemen, we have no reason ever to come back down. Truthfully, I tell you, there's no reason to ever come back down when you build fundamental when you build a fundamental floor and you start recovering fundamentally. Okay. And I believe we're going to start getting that more and more. Obviously, Turbo is not immune to having some explosive movement. We've seen it in the past where Turbo can pump 50% in a day, 170% in a week. So Turbo can go crazy. Turbo can go crazy. I would probably expect some type of pump to happen once we get a little bit closer to once we get a little bit closer to the highs over here, right? If we go like this, Fibonacci tool, I'd say once we get to the 50% to 78% and we're recovering, right, somewhere over here, I would not be surprised if we see another big explosion. The reason why I say this, ladies and gentlemen, is because there is a huge, massive resistance over here. We can see, boom, right? There's a huge, huge, huge resistance all the way down here, going back to these even previous highs, some of these lows. We're tapping here multiple times. We're tapping here. And of course, we also do have technically, right? If we go something like this, boom, look at this support like this. All right, we have a good amount of structure here. And of course, we have this higher structure up here, right? So things need to like really break out and they need to really break up. So a burst eventually would not be surprising, right? A burst eventually would not be surprising. But overall, I don't think we're going to get it too soon. And I wouldn't even want it too soon regardless. But yeah, I did see actually a comment. I did actually see a comment that I forgot to pretty much talk about. But look, hashtag Turbo, before Turbo hit its all-time high, it doubled in price over 3 weeks from 0.0068 to 0.013. It did 85% of that in just 9 days. What do you negative Nancy's think is going to happen when the markets pick up momentum? They haven't even turned on the printers yet. Do you think that's not going to happen at some point? Maybe the bull run is over by then, but they will cut rates at the very least, which is true. They will cut rates, ladies and gentlemen. It is such a high probability. It is extremely high probability with everything that is happening. Upside is coming. Turbo isn't one of these shit meme coins. It, like BTC, had one level of support left when BTC bottomed in April. Maybe it was the last level. Memory sucks. But the important point is that many coins didn't hold their last level and fell through. Solid coins like Mudang, Pepe, Turbo all did. And look at them now compared to others. No one is clowning on Pepe, and our charts are nearly identical. So why people uptight? So could be a little bit better English. It is what it is. It is what it is. But yeah, seems to me that there's a lot more money to be made by the rich. The exchanges and things tanking now doesn't seem to be in favor. Stay positive. So yeah, look, man. I mean, we literally have an identical, and I mean identical, kind of chart to Pepe, right? If we actually go and look, let's say over the last month or even the last year, and we zoom out, right? We have these bottoms, we have a decent high, bottoms, decent high, and we're kind of bottoming out again. And then if we go to something like Pepe, it's like literally the almost the exact same thing. We have the bottoms, we have a high, we go bottoms, we have lower highs. So again and again, we're selling off very, very slowly. And now we're seeing again some momentum. So it really just is surprising, right? If people are crapping on Pepe, which I don't follow the Pepe community, and or if people are not crapping on Pepe, but they're crapping on Turbo, then I just think they're a little bit blind because we literally have the same identical numbers. And if we even, look the same in this altcoin season, sure, whatever charts will look similar, but you got to remember our ratios will be better because we are a much smaller coin. And, you know, Pepe might go up 10x, but for us, we might go up 20, 30, 40, 50x. So that is just the reality, ladies and gentlemen. But anyways, that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.